I'm Dr. Pavithra, Fertility Specialist at GarbhaGudi IVF Center, Jayanagar. Today I'm going to talk to you about normal conception. So today I have with me a model. So as you can see, this is the uterus, this is the tubes and the ovaries. So how do we see whether the tubes, the ovaries and the uterus is normal? So the uterus and the ovaries we can see through the scan. So when we do the scan, we take the measurements to see whether the size of the uterus is normal, if there is any abnormality like fibroids or polyps, and whether the lining of the uterus is normal. So when you come to the ovaries, again the size and also the number of follicles which represent the number of eggs, and also whether or not ovulation takes place. Third, when you come to the tubes. So tubes, only abnormal tubes can be detected in the scan. So the tubes, in order to detect the tubes, we have a small and simple test which is called as HSG, hysterosalpingography. So what is this hysterosalpingography? So this is the uterus. So it is a small test where a dye is pushed through the cervix and the film, that is an X-ray, is taken when the dye is pushed in. So what exactly happens is the dye flows into the uterus and through the tubes and it spills out. So that way we get the X-ray where we can see the patency of the tubes and also if there is any filling defect in the uterus or in the tubes. And fourthly, we have another very important factor, that is the sperms. So the sperms, again, what all do we see in the sperms? In the sperms, we see the count, the motility and the morphology. So which is very important for a normal conception. So how does a normal conception happen? So when all these parameters are normal, so the normal menstrual cycle, that is when the female starts to menstruate, we call it as the day 1 of her cycle. So that time when we do a scan, we see that she tends to have follicles in the ovaries. So these follicles should be around 6 to 10 in number. So when these follicles are present, one of the follicle gets selected, and that is because of the hormones. So once the follicle gets selected, one follicle starts to grow and it grows to a maximum size, that is around 18 to 20 mm. From that, another hormone releases and that basically helps it to break, and we call that as ovulation. So when ovulation happens, that is the follicle breaks and it releases the egg. This egg falls freely into the body and it is picked up by the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube, with the help of finger-like projections, which is called the fimbriae, picks up the tube, and inside you have small tiny cilia which helps to transport the egg into the fallopian tube. And then the main factor is the egg survives only for 1 day, and the first 12 hours is very, very crucial. And at that moment, when the couple have intercourse, that time the sperms will enter through the vagina into the cervix. So the cervix acts as a natural processing of the sperm. So what it does is it filters out all the debris, the plasma, the WBCs, all unwanted debris, and enters only the sperms which are very good and motile. So these sperms enter and they swim up into the uterus and enter into the tubes. Here fertilization happens, and after which the zygote forms and then the embryo. They stay here for a minimum of 5 days, after which they travel from the tubes into the ovaries, where the embryo gets implanted into the uterus. So the implantation happens with the help of the mother's blood, and thereby the embryo starts to grow, develops into a baby with a heartbeat, and thereby stays for 9 months with the support of the hormones as well as the placenta, and grows to be a full-term fetus. Thank you.